Hey guys, welcome to the Data Tech channel. Hope you guys are doing well and staying safe. Here we talk about the modern data technologies and do hands-on practice with them. Today we will talk about the integration of Azure Cosmos DB with Azure Synapse Analytics. So without further ado, let's start. Here's the list of prerequisites for this video. Basic understanding of Spark and SQL. Obviously, you need to know about the Azure Synapse Analytics. If you don't, please check out my previous videos, Azure Cosmos DB. So we are assuming that you are hosting your operational or transaction data in Cosmos DB instance, and you will be using core SQL API. And last, a basic understanding of OLTP and OLAP, which is basically OLTP, which is basically captures, stores, and processes data in real time, and it works in collaboration with the applications. And OLAP is where data is stored in a warehouse, and then analysts write complex queries to analyze this data. Okay, so this is the image which shows Azure Synapse Analytics link for Cosmos DB. And this link is a cloud native hybrid transactional and analytical processing, which we call HTAP capability, and that enable us to run near real time over an operational database. I know, like that's like a lot of technical jargon. So let's break it down. So as we are aware, OLTP systems are employed to store transactional data. And in this case, if you look at on the left side, like operational data is stored in the Cosmos DB instance. So to analyze this data, so to analyze this large volume of transactional data, relational databases are not suited because they can't scale or perform. So we need a columnar data warehouse, but the challenge with that is you have to store this, or you have to or we can say you have to replicate or relocate this transactional data into a warehouse and then do the analysis. So that's the channel, is like we duplicating the data, and it's involved like relocating, which like may have like ETLs and those kind of processes involved. So that's where Azure Synapse Analytics HTAP approach comes. This is like hybrid transactional and analytics processing capability, where it auto sync your transactional data into an analytical store, and with using the Azure Synapse linked services, we can access that and do all the processing here. So that's approach eliminate the need for replicate or relocate the data, and which makes our life easy. I hope it makes sense. But when we do the demo, it will clear things more. But the basic here is like in you don't have to copy your operational or transactional store data into any warehouse or anywhere. You just start like it's auto sync with the analytical store, and you can use your Azure Synapse Analytics to perform any kind of analytics using Spark or SQL pool, which is like machine learning, big analytics, big data analytics, or even like business intelligence reporting kind of thing. So what are the benefits? So as I mentioned, was like it reduced the complexity, as we don't have ETL jobs or ELT kind of things to manage. And second is it's give us near real time insight using the operational data, because it auto sync with the analytical store, and you can run Azure Synapse Analytics there, and it's not real time, it's near real time. And there will be no impact of OLTP, because if you look at this, like Azure Synapse Analytics is not hitting the transactional store. However, you can write it back to transactional stores. We're going to talk about that. But if you look at this, like we are not touching the transactional store, so there is no impact on OLTP. It's cost effective, and last is the optimized for the large scale analytical workload. So Cosmos DB is very scalable, and we also know Azure Synapse Analytics works well with the big data analytics. So there are some limitations with this approach. The first one is it's only available for the SQL and MongoDB API of Azure Cosmos DB. It is not available for other APIs, for example, Cassandra or the Graph one, and etc. And this analytical store can be enabled for the new containers. So if you already have a container in existing container in your Azure Cosmos DB, you can't use it. There is a way around for it, like you have to create a like a new container and copy your old container data. That in that way you can enable the analytical store. And the third limitation is like the containers with the analytical store don't have automatic backup or restore at this time, or I'll say at the time of this recording. Probably in future you will have, but there is a good this is like there is another option, or I'll say there is one good thing, like we have the backup and restore for the transactional data. And the last limitation is like we can't access the Cosmos DB analytics store using Synapse SQL provision at this time, but we can use our Synapse SQL serverless pool and Azure Spark pool. So in this demo, we will see how we can configure the analytical store in Cosmos DB. That's first. Second, like how this integrate between Azure Synapse Analytics and Cosmos DB, and then we'll do some simple query to pull the data from Cosmos DB, look at the data structure, and similarly how Azure Synapse Analytics Apache Spark pool interact with the Cosmos DB. So let's go to our portal. Okay. So first thing first, to as we know, like we need to, or you need a Cosmos DB instance already, and it take, like, depending on where are you, it can take 10 to 15 minutes. So I already created a Cosmos DB instance to save our time. And once you create, like, your window will look pretty much like this. Like you click on the Explorer and it will look like this only. So here I have created two data. One is with the sample. If I expand this, it will have persons information, and if I click on items, this is basic. We can expand this, or we can see so this is like very basic information about the persons, and these are the JSON formats. So if you want to see it in JSON format, let me show you this. Select star, you can go here and run this, because we know, like, Cosmos DB is a NoSQL, and this is a document, and we're using the document type data. So here you can see we have like 4 records. This one is John, Vernaka, Eva, and some guy in Asian language. And that's our, like, that's one. This is how you create. This is like basically when you click on Data Explorer. If you click on this, start with the sample, it will create a sample DB. And when this sample DB is created, it is OLTP. It's not OLAP, because by default everything is OLTP. Now I'll show you how to create a OLAP. Like I give the name as OLAP to the database, but you can give whatever you want. I already created, but I'm going to show you how you can do that. So okay, before I go there, like, you want to make sure, like, in your settings, in your features, this Azure Synapse Analytics status is on. By default it's off, but you need to turn it on to use it. Okay, let me go back to Data Explorer, and you click on new container, then it asks for like whether you need a new database or you want to use an existing one. We're creating a new one, so let's give it a name, OLAP test. Okay, I'm going to do manual because it's a very small, like we're going to upload like small documents, so that's not a big container. So I have two JSON files which have like family information, so I'll give it name families, and partition key is the ID. And after that you have to expand the advanced and click on. So as I mentioned, like by default Analytical Store is off. If you don't click on, it will create a OLTP database, but if you click it on, it will create OLAP, like OLAP database or Analytical Store. We can, like from Azure's perspective, it will create an Analytical Store for it. Click OK. Okay, this take just it won't take long, like it take a couple of seconds. And if you get any error, you will see the error here. You can expand this and you see this is successfully created. No errors, and you click on refresh, so you get the OLP test. Expand this. Families is our database. OLAP test is our database name. This is a container name. So we don't have anything here, so we click on items and click on upload. I already have two files. So I'm going to upload these two files. Done. So basically OLAP and OLAP test have the same one. It's one which I already created, but this one is to show you how to configure an Analytical Store, or how to make a transactional storage auto sync with an Analytical Store. So we can check the data. Okay, let's copy this thing. It's okay. Yeah, copy this. So you can see we have the family data here, like that's family name. This is like a JSON document with all the like family name, address, parent, kids, and ID on all those kind of information is here. So now we know how to enable an Analytical Store. Now let's switch to the Azure Synapse Analytics and see how OLTP and OLA, or like Analytical Store or Transactional Store, look different there. Okay, I can close this. So I've already created a connection here for our both transactional and the Analytical Store. So before I start, I will show you one small thing which you will see and make a difference. So if you look at this person, which was our like sample database there. So person was a container in there. So let me show you this. If you go expand this, so container name is person. So we see the same. This is a database, container is person, and here is the database OLAP, and the container is families. In our OLAP, as I mentioned, they both are same. So look at the image here. Like this thing, if you look at very closely at this one, this shows that is an OLTP. And if we look at this, it is OLAP. And and how we get these link services, I'll show you that, and we will connect to the OLAP test, and we'll see like OLAP test should look like this. Okay, let me click on this, connect to external data. This is our Azure Cosmos DB SQL API. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, we are using the SQL API, not the MongoDB. Continue. So I'll give it name link 3. We pick free, we have only one. Then database name, like Cosmos data account name is this, and the database name is OLTP test. Perfect. Then we test the connection. Boom, it worked. We click on create. Perfect, it's created. And if you expand, you're like, oh, we are not seeing it, so we need to refresh it. Perfect, we see now. And if I expand this, you will see families again, but like see the image which I was talking about. So this tells us it's an analytical store, and so there is a difference between the how about the symbol of the container. So if it's a transactional or operational data, it will look like this. If it's a analytical data, it will look like this. So now let's query some data. Okay, let me copy paste my SQL query. I already copy pasted this thing. All right, let's go to develop new SQL script and paste it here. So here, like you just need, like, most of stuff will make sense to you because we have done this in the past for Azure Synapse Analytics. But the only thing which you need to be, you will be like, okay, we get that there is an account there. We understand there is a database name there too. And we understand there is a container. But what is this key? So this is a key associated with your account, and you can get that from here. If you scroll down, here's the key. You copy the primary key and paste it there. Okay, let me select this, run. So now you can see, like, all the data which was in a JSON format as a document in Cosmos DB, we are able to query using the SQL. But the data will bit different here, like a few things. For example, like if you look at this data here, go there, data explore, overlap. Like, it's a JSON, but let me show you this. So same, like, if you look at this, is one document that will be considered as a one row in Azure Synapse Analytics, and you can look at this. Okay, ID and all those things will be considered as one column, like individual columns, but these things which are like JSON objects, we can consist like another JSON objects, are considered as an array. You can look at this. Let me do this. If you look at this, like parents, David and Diana, Peter and Alice, Pads. So it worked as an array instead of as an individual column, and that makes sense here. That's why, like, we need NoSQL. But like, this is then we can parse it, and we can, like, I'm going to show you in the future videos how we can use like Apache Spark to parse these kind of data. But this is like to show you the gist. Okay, once you have the data, you can access through the SQL. Now let's go here and access the same data through, okay, let's create a new data frame. So now we accessing the data using the data frame, like using Apache Spark pool. So here, like, you will see it's a read stream because we, like, in real world scenario, this is because this is an transactional data or operational data. So we hitting the application and getting the data in the real time. And as I mentioned, like you can directly connect to that to using Spark. It's depending on like how strong is your production server. You can do that too, but I personally don't recommend to hit the production server. Use it through the through OLAP systems. But for person, we don't have any analytical store, so that's why I'm showing like we can run this and see. It will take some time because Spark take time to start it start the session first and then run the query, so it takes some like a couple of minutes. But in the meantime, we can look like how this person data looked there, and then we can check like how it look in the data frame. Okay, so families, so person data, as it's a sample database, and I didn't or we didn't like pick the analytical store for it, so it's by default it's transactional only. So if we expand this, we saw in the beginning, but let's see it again. So it have like 4 records, and just look at the data. So 4 records, so we got 4 JSON documents, and it have first name, age, ID. It's look pretty straightforward. Like we don't have any nested JSON document in it, so it's like a good example to use like Spark data frame or SQL directly. So you will see once like we execute like our Spark job finish, we'll see in data frame we will have all these fields. Let's look like where is it still running. It take time, so that's why I wanna have a look at the data. The meantime, I'm just trying to. Yeah, I wanna show you one more difference. Like it's running. I'm not going to execute it, but I'm gonna show you. So if you look at this is OLTP. So actually, this is like basically hitting the transactional instance of Cosmos DB, which is connected to the application. So from there, we load the data as a stream, because like it's almost real time, because like as soon as transactions are happening in the application, they will be stored in the transactional data, and only we can use Spark. We can't use SQL for that. You see like there is no option for SQL here, but we have only option for Spark, and that's also like reading the data, and we can write it back too. And but as I mentioned, like the best practice is not to hit the transactional database. Okay, and if we look at this, you will see 2 options: SQL and notebook. So SQL is, we can do pretty much like which we saw, like top 100 and do other stuff. And here you can load, you can create a table, and you can do a lot of stuff. There you can only do like just read and like load the data, read the data. But here you can load it to a data frame, and you can do much more than the transactional database. So that's the difference as I want to show you. So it's running, it's done. We'll create a new shell, and here we'll do one thing. We'll look at the schema once again. Stream, yeah, perfect. Stream dot print schema. So we'll see all the like objects of JSONs are available here. We don't have any nested ones, so we don't see anything nested, and we can even do the show. Oh, sorry, it's a PySpark SQL query. Oh, my bad. Because this is stream data, so I have to do the right stream. And with Azure Synapse Analytics, you can't do console output. You have to either do uh, the what they call it's like file or any other data source. So ignore this. But we saw it like this is a system, and this is reading the right like a read stream, which is like a structured Spark thing. So ignore this thing. But we saw like how it's working. So that's pretty much for this video, and thanks again for watching this video. If you guys like my channel, please click on like or subscribe button, and be safe. Have a good one.